Let's see how hard this is to pick up a 1,000 ounce silver bar. SD Bullion was recently named one of the top internet retailers, and to celebrate, they got some great deals. Feel free to check them out at sdbullion.com/deals.
All right, what's up, Ian?
Hey, how are you? Good to see you again.
Good to see you. I'm so excited for this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Right here. We got some stuff that a lot of people probably never seen before. Some super rare silver bars. We're going to go through these. We're going to work our way up to the big one.
Big one.
But we'll start down here at the end. So
Wait.
tell me about these little ingots, or what do we got going here?
Yeah, so these are a off-weight. They're all 10 ounces and above, and it's technically called a Spanish crossbar. Nobody actually knows the origin of them yet. They're on all the websites for like rare bars, but you can't find any information on it. But when they came in, we were super thrilled because I unfortunately am a super big collector of rare or vintage bars. So
Yeah.
it's just the way you got to do it.
So someone brought these in just to sell them?
This came from a wholesaler in a random lot. They were like, hey, buy this big group of stuff. And I was like, oh, I don't want to. I did, but then that came out of it, so can't complain about those.
Ended up being okay.
Yeah, I'm super happy with those.
So
Absolutely.
are these from Spain, or do people just not know?
No,
or?
nobody knows.
I mean, if you were to sell something like this, what would the price tag be?
Because of the rarity, $600 to $800 a bar on it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. The market's there for vintage bars, rare bars. Obviously, it's not like a 10-ounce JM or a 10-ounce Engelhard. Those command a little bit more of a premium, but they're not just silver. So when you find rare bars, it's obviously there's that price, that premium just through the roof.
So when people are out there looking at their local coin shops,
Yeah.
they're at the coin shows, and they find something like this, if it's at a decent price, they should pick it up.
Pick it up immediately. This is a holder's dream in terms of like when you're collecting this stuff, there's always going to be a market for rare bars or collectible bars. So always, if you can get it at a good price, or if the seller doesn't know what he has, go for it. Make an offer. So yeah, for sure.
That's crazy.
That's what I do.
Okay, so we got the Spanish ones.
Yeah.
What is this one here's got a little bit of toning on it.
Yeah, there's a couple of these.
Are these three all from sort of the same set?
Yep, from India, Bombay. This one is, what is this? This is a 25 tolas. That's a 25 tolas. And this one is a 100 grams tolas. So this one's from the late 1800s. These two over here are from the early 1900s on those ones.
And they actually came from India?
Yeah, yep. Yeah,
That's crazy.
they're super neat looking.
Yeah, they are really cool looking. I mean, so obviously these are like vintage, but they're like super vintage, right?
Yeah, it's nuts to see how nice these ones are, especially because of the traveling that they've gone through. Like,
Yeah.
hey, they're in Tualatin, Oregon, and they started in India in the 1800s.
So what is the price on these ones compared to like the Spanish? Because you said these ones here were like, you know, about $80 an ounce. Are these ones more expensive, or what's the deal?
Yeah, so they're a little bit more expensive. So the 25 tolas are anywhere from $800 to about $1,200, depending on what it is. So example, like this one is just plain. This one actually has some like toning in it. I don't know if that's hitting the camera right.
Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of that, you're starting to add a little more value. The rarity of this would also be probably in the line of that, where you're starting to ask more money because it's rarer. So 1800s, early 1900s. Yeah, so collectors really love these bars. They don't come on the market very often.
Okay, so what about these or SH bars? You got two of them here.
Yeah.
And they look very cool. I mean, we're talking, you know, vintage silver bars here. What's the story on those?
So the only story that I can find and kind of done a little bit of research on is that there was a jewelry shop / manufacturer in California, and they were producing bars as well. And so that stood for their name, supposedly. That's as far as the story goes. Unfortunately, with vintage bars, you know this, there are a ton of people that made them.
Right.
And there's a very select few that like cut the mustard to say, hey, this is going to be a super expensive bar. Engelhard, you know, Johnson Matthey, these kinds of things. start making that mustard. But so in terms of these ones, you're looking at a vintage bar, but at like an affordable price. So like on that one, you're looking at like 32 an ounce. That one, you're probably at like 30 an ounce, just because it's bigger.
Wow. Yeah, so not really that high of a premium, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
cool.
if you could get an actual like defined knowledge of where that's from, then it might be able to go back up in price. But until that actually is populated out in the internet, then we're stuck with what we got in terms of the information. We post all the bars into forums and stuff to see if anybody's got information. Every once in a while we get hit up on it and be like, hey, I think it's the jewelry store in California. So
Yeah.
that's where we're going with that one.
Well, you know, if anyone who's watching this video has any knowledge about this stuff, feel free to share it in the comment section. Be great to learn more about these awesome pieces of silver.
Heck yeah.
We're going to move over to the certified ingots. These have to be probably my favorites, the way they look. I mean, they're just so gorgeous. What's the story on these?
So again, manufacturer not known. Unfortunately, again, these ones have zero out there in terms of sales. There's two that people are asking like 6,000, 7,000 on eBay for.
Wow.
But that's about it. So we've actually come across 4 of them. We do business with one of the gentlemen that their parents bought them back in the day, and he doesn't have the exact, area where they came from or how they got them, but they've all been tested and they are just super cool and collectible. The weird part is every single one we've had is off weight.
Yeah.
There's never been one that we've gotten that was 100 ounce, directly 100.
Are these even for sale or what's
Yeah, so those two are going to be, we're asking 3,800 a pop on them. So
Wow.
obviously over a regular 100 ouncer, which is probably what was spot today, drop a little bit, but 2,600 bucks for regular. So you're looking at another 1,100 bucks on a premium side of it. But again, they're not going to be remade anytime soon. I guess somebody could try, but
Yeah.
the originals aren't going to be remade. The business is out of business, and so that's where you also start getting that collector value.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they are very cool. I mean, I love the look of them. I love the finish. These are just, they're smoking. And they're heavy. Over 100 ounces of silver right there. Super cool. All right, so we've covered all of these ones. We're moving on to one of the rarest, or maybe the rarest one that you have.
Yep.
The Foster bar.
yep.
This thing is crazy looking. The way that this was made, it looks like they just poured it into probably one of those cast iron molds. And it's a gorgeous bar, but tell me a little bit about this. How many exist?
Less than 50 are known to have been manufactured. So on allengelhard.com or whatever it is out there, they track all the Engelhard bars. This bar in particular is the bar on that website. And so through our research, it's also been made very clear that a lot of the 50 or whatever underneath that were melted down when silver jumped in 2011.
Wow.
So we've got one of the bars. It's actually the bar on Engelhard. And that thing is a crazy piece of vintage history from them, for sure.
Is it for sale?
It is.
Really? So what's the? Well, I know it's going to be more than these ones, but
Yeah. So out the door, you're looking at $6,000.
$6,000.
$6,000 for a 99 point something ounce bar.
Wow.
It's insane.
Do you know? I'm sure people are curious.
Yeah.
Do you know what these little additions are? I mean,
Yeah, so I was curious about that myself, and I believe it's from when they tested the bar.
kind of drilling into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of what it looks like. Then they sort of tried to fill it.
Yep.
But it
So
just
that-
adds character. It adds to the story.
Yeah, the history on it, just nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, so we went through all the small ones, and now it's time for the big one.
No, the big one, big one.
So the big one is also the best deal one.
Really?
Yeah. So when you're talking 1,000 ounce bars, so this is 990 ounces.
Wow.
So just under 1,000. Technically, still a 1,000 ounce bar in the realm of things coming off the comex vaults. So when you're talking about silver like that, that is the cheapest way you can ever buy silver.
Really?
Ever. You're looking at 50 cents to $1 over spot for an in-store purchase on something like this. So your premiums are just waxed.
Low, low, low.
Low, low, low.
But I mean, you are getting a whole 1,000 ounces at once.
Yeah, it's two monster boxes essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. If someone wanted to sell one of these
Yep.
to the shop, they brought it in, they said, hey, will you buy it? You guys would buy it?
Yeah, so we bought this one actually back from one of our really good customers. We sold it to him originally around the $20 range. I think that's what he paid an ounce on it. And we bought it back at $23 an ounce.
Okay.
That was, at the time, 50 cents under spot. So we're buying it 50 cents under spot because this bad boy either needs to be mailed back to the wholesalers
Right.
and or somebody needs to walk through the door and take it.
Yeah.
And at that rate, we're either selling it at spot or just a little over.
Right.
And shipping on something like that's about $500.
Oh my gosh. $500 to ship it.
So minus the 50 cents, there's the 500. So
Yeah, no doubt.
not a ton of money to be made on bars like that, but it's a super cool way to get cheap silver. But it just like you said, it's a boatload.
Yeah, so if someone wanted to buy this
Yep.
and they walked in with cash,
Yeah.
they'd be over the $10,000 mark, obviously.
Yep.
So would that be in like the 8300 form territory?
Yeah, so there's two options. You could do the 8300 form, or you could wire, or you could write us a check if we know you and do business with you. If we don't, we'll hold the check for an extended period of time just to make sure we're safe on that aspect. But you could wire that amount, pick it up next day. And then if you really insisted on paying cash, which is great for everybody, but there is forms required, so we would have to do that.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the bad things, I guess, about buying a bar this big. And then when they go to sell it, technically it's actually under 1,000 ounces, so
Right.
they don't have to do the 1099.
Correct. Yeah. So on that bar in particular, that is the case. Now, when it's weighed all out, and let's say it was 1,000 and whatever over, form immediately.
1099B.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! So if you do buy one of these big bars, it's actually kind of smart to get it just under 1,000. That's actually a little bit better.
I would bet that that's probably why some of them are made like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
what my guess would be. Even though if you're already wiring or if you're already cutting a check, it's going to be transparent to everybody where that money's going and where everything is gone.
Right.
So regardless, another form, the money's already coming out of an account some way. So
Might not be the end of the world.
yeah, it might not be that.
Yeah, I mean, if you already buy these all the time, I mean, I'm certainly not out there spending 25 grand at once
Yeah, right.
on a big silver bar. I'm sure there are people out there that do it.
I think we should put that down as a foundation for a house.
Yeah, there you go. This would actually be a good down payment for a house.
The nice part about this is, so the cool part to me is people come in and say, hey, can I make money on silver? And typically the answer is, well, yes. Long term, yes, absolutely. Short term, you can't really flip next day because of premiums.
Right.
The shop's going to buy it back at a lower cost, right?
Yeah.
So the nice part about that is, if you go big like that, this gentleman bought it, when it was $20 an ounce, so 5-6 months ago. Mm-hmm. Within 5 or 6 months, he made $3,000 off of silver. So I know a lot of people's portfolios aren't making that right now on money.
Yeah.
So there are ways to make money in silver. It's just that you have to be able to buy it correctly and when spot drops, rather than when spot goes up. One of the biggest things that we see, just side note here, is we always see people buy because they're afraid that it's going to the moon, right?
Yeah.
Everybody needs to change their philosophy and buy in the dips, because everybody else that's been in the industry does buy on the dips, but we sell the majority of our silver on the ups.
Yeah.
So this is an idea out there for you.
It makes sense. Okay, so Ian's holding the camera. I want to pick this up and show you all how heavy it is. Now, I think it's like over 70 pounds, yeah?
Yeah, 68 to 72.
Okay, so let's see. Let's see how hard this is to pick up a 1,000 ounce silver bar. There it is. It's certainly not easy. And we actually have it on the counter here, sort of in between the two counters, because it probably would crack the glass, yeah?
Oh yeah, we go right through this stuff. So, yeah.
But hey, that was super fun.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for showing me all this
Yeah.
stuff, Ian.
Glad we could make it happen again.
Yeah.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Absolutely. Thanks, brother.
Yep.